Hello to all my beautiful listeners, and welcome to I Wrote That, a podcast where we bring authors and industry experts together to talk about all things books. My name is Larissa Sowen, and I am a book coach and ghostwriter and your host today. With me, I have Amberly Henning. She is a graduate of the Miami University with a degree in education. I love all things education. So super excited to have you here. She spent most of her life writing and caring for her family, and she's here today to talk about her book and her upcoming sale. We're going to talk about that. So stick around because we do have a freebie for you at the end of the episode. Welcome, Amberly.
Thank you. Hello.
How are you?
I'm okay. I literally was driving so fast to get home to do this. And there was, what are they called? There was a daddy long leg in the car.
Oh, yes.
That was very scary.
Life flashed before your eyes, all of that fun stuff.
Yes, especially because there was a car in front of me. So I was like,
that's funny. I always wonder with obviously authors are people and we have our own fears and our own phobias and stuff. Do those fears and did they play into your character at all?
Yeah. So I am very on edge when I meet new people. I always am thinking what are their intentions? I'm very nervous when I meet new people, and my main character is the same way, probably worse. So the first time that not the first time, she meets this old man, and he is small and fragile, and they're walking down through a basement and out the back steps, and she thinks, if he stabbed me right now, what would happen? And then she's like, he can't stab me, he's an old man. But so a little bit of me is in there. I don't know. Yeah.
I love that, because intrusive thoughts are something that I think a lot of books are missing out on. As people, I'm with you, 100% intrusive thoughts. What would happen if we all died right now? And that's a very common one for me. And, you go through this disaster recovery in your mind of how would you handle the situation? And it almost feels like, you're prepping yourself for the day when it comes. It's super morbid, it's super unhealthy and all that fun stuff. But our characters, especially when we get into our protagonists, it sometimes in books can feel like they have the answers. They just intuitively know what's going on. And it sounds like your character is not quite like that. She's got a bit of uncertainty to her.
Yeah. I would say she is not one of those characters who I will say she figures things out pretty easily when she has all the pieces, but going through most of it, she's like, everything's strange and I don't know what's happening, but I'm going to try to do something about it. Mm-hmm. And she does have those intrusive thoughts that I feel like everyone has those. And I think you're right. A lot of protagonists, I feel are very, very perfect. And I had fun writing someone who is very, very flawed. Not that other characters aren't flawed. They definitely have their flaws, but I don't know. It felt more human to me to write her that way, with intrusive thoughts and fears and things like that.
I love that. I love that look into a character's mind, because sometimes we only get surface level stuff and you just crave more. I know when I wrote my sci-fi novel, The Defender, I did something very similar. I made her very insecure and very anxiety riddled. And, she on the outside has it all, but then you get into it and she is a hot mess. So much of myself went into her. And again, it sounds like in your book, Contained in Darkness, it sounds the same.
Yeah. And I think it's nice that we can take these little pieces of humanity and sprinkle them into so many different genres. Yes, the characters are human, but you still get this very real view that we can relate to, even in our nice little modern homes where we're not battling dragons or whatever.
Unfortunately, right?
Yeah, I mean, although sometimes I'm like, that sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, that's true. And sometimes I look at my kid and I'm like, you are a tiny dragon. So yeah,
Yeah,
basically fighting my own war.
you're right. I have four, so
Oh my
it's
goodness.
constantly like a war zone in my house.
Yeah.
I don't think I could
So
handle half the things my protagonist goes through when I'm in my house with four children and like I need silence just a little bit.
mhm. So how do you balance writing with four children and a family and a life and a job?
So I will say I was quite lucky. The year that I published Contained in Darkness, within that year, oh wait, we don't do video, just kidding. Within that year, I actually published the next two books in that series. And the only reason that I was able to do that is because I was a stay-at-home mom. And two of my children were at school all day, and the other two children took naps. And nap time was very, very useful.
Mhm.
And my children are also very easily distracted.
Mm.
So they'll I'll put TV on, I'll give them some puzzles or something, and then I go away in my
Mhm.
little corner and I write. It's sometimes a struggle, and sometimes I'm up till 1 a.m. But I think it's because I love writing so much that I do sacrifice some things like sleep or watching the TV show that everyone else is watching right now. I sacrifice those things sometimes because I just want to tell stories all the time.
Mhm. So is Contained in Darkness your first introduction to being an author?
Yes. I it was the first book that I actually really, really tried to get published. I had thought about it before with novels that actually were not very good. But I had never actually went for it until this book.
What was the difference between this book and the others?
I think it was just the feeling I got when I was writing it. Um, there was the thing that like really sparked this book in particular was when I was watching a movie and I was thinking about the structure of the story of that movie. And I was like, I wonder if I could take the skeleton from the movie and I could just reskin it for something that I want to talk about or write about or whatever. And then I did that. And then I accidentally wrote like four more books about it.
Accidentally. I love that.
I fell and then my fingers went on my keyboard and wrote
Mhm.
200,000 words or whatever it took.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I know, again, writing my first sci-fi book, I also accidentally wrote the book. I didn't know what
Yeah.
I was doing. It was unintentional. What movie inspired you to write Contained in Darkness?
So when I was a kid, there was this movie. It's called Memoirs of a Geisha.
Oh.
Yeah, my best friend was like, you have to watch this movie. It's so cool, whatever. And then we watched it. And then I didn't watch it again until 2020 when I was supposed to be student teaching when March 13th, 2020 happened.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
Ohio shut down. So I went home. I didn't know what to do with my life because I wasn't student teaching anymore. My kids couldn't go to daycare. And I was just sitting in my living room one day and I was like, you know what I want to do? I want to watch that movie that I haven't seen in years. That was a very long segue to say that I finally watched the movie after like a decade and sort of loved it even more, even with its flaws.
Mhm. I think a lot of authors struggle both with likening their books to other things because in our hearts it feels like nothing else. And then at the same time, we draw this inspiration from other places. And I know for me, for a long time, I was hesitant to say that's where I drew my inspiration from because I didn't want people to think I was copying the style or the idea.
Yeah. I thought about that so much when I was writing. And I feel like I was actually talking to my best friend about this because she read my whole series. And she then was like, I think that I want to write a book now after reading yours. And one night she texted me and she was like, I feel like I'm copying your books and like Avatar, The Last Airbender, and all these other things. And I was like, the way that I see it in a way is that nothing is ever like very, very original. Like we don't live in a vacuum. And so like what we have encountered in our lives, the media that we consume, like all of those things make up little tiny pieces of who we are. And so it'll reflect in our ideas. So I feel like even if you feel like you have a really original idea, like it's still original, but it was influenced by the outside world. So I feel like it's not copying unless you just like change the names and stick it on Amazon, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I like to think of it from a psychology standpoint, because that's my background. But like our dreams are formulations of what we've seen, what we've done, our memory, all of those types of things. But your dream is 100% yours. No one will ever have the same dream as you, and you will probably never have the same dream twice. Books are the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I might read a similar book, but there are still like giant differences.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I've had two people compare my series to SJM, to Sarah J. Maas. I don't really see it because I kind of think Sarah J. Maas is the OG, and I don't know how I would ever compare to her. But even though people have compared my books to Sarah J. Maas's, when I read Sarah J. Maas, I feel different than when I read my own writing. Like she uses like different words, different descriptors. Her men act differently than the men in my books. And yeah, I don't know. Like you can compare something to something, but I feel like SJM has her original ideas and I have mine, and maybe they have some similarities, and that's cool.
Mm-hmm. I know when I wrote, again, I keep coming back to the Defender because it's just a hot topic for me right now. But I have a scene in my book where my main character battles a blind worm with a lot of teeth. And I thought this is just out of the world, so unique. And then I read Sarah J. Maas's book and I was like, darn it, I think I stole it without even knowing I did. But that just goes to show that it's not like I didn't know that existed, and yet they are so
Yeah.
similar in scenes.
Oh, I know. I understand. I feel like there was something like that with one of my books. Oh, no. Okay. So there is a series that I want to write, and it consists of all of my Dungeons and Dragons characters put together going on an adventure. And I realized that the plot of the first book would be very, very similar to the first Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I just copied it, copied, paste, made it look a little different, but it's fine.
But it's fine, right? It's your
Fine.
story, it's your voice, it's your tone, it's your vision. No one else can replicate that.
Correct. Yep.
I love that. So let's talk about Contained in Darkness. You have a sale coming up on March 12th, where the book is going to drop down to 99 cents on Amazon. And you're giving away a freebie for that chapter, or for that book, sorry.
Yes. On TikTok, I will be posting videos and offering a chapter for free for anyone who's interested. They'll just have to put their email in, and then they will get a PDF file of the first chapter of Contained in Darkness. And then, they get to taste a little flavor and then decide if they want to eat more.
I love that. And that's such a great way to build up your email list. So if you're an author thinking of how am I going to market my fiction book, because it can be a challenge to market fiction, this is a great way to do it. So you've really unlocked something there. And we're going to drop the link to that in the show notes. So you can just head over there. You can also find Amberly on TikTok. We'll drop the handle in there and you can connect with her that way. Okay, I'm going to wrap up with my favorite question. What advice do you have for any aspiring authors?
Do what works for you. I write till 1 a.m. Some people wake up at 5 to write. Sometimes I write with people like my children screaming and running around the room, and other people have to have it silent. And that's okay. And if someone tells you you have to do something a certain way, don't listen to that person.
I love that. I'm so glad you said that because I'm a coach. I help people write books. That's what I do. And the first thing I tell people is we do this your way. Yes. I do not come in and I do not tell you you have to write for 45 minutes a day. I do not tell you you have to have a plan or a structure or a plot. It doesn't work that way because every author is different. And trying to swim upstream in this author world and making yourself, match to, Sarah J. Maas's writing style or her planning style or her plot structure, any of it, if that doesn't work for you, you will not publish your book. You will not be happy with it. You will not like it. You will not be fun and you will not go back. You got to do it your way. Yeah, I love that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Amberly. And be sure to grab her book on March 12th on Amazon. Grab your free chapter, get in line for the exclusive link to that sale, and reach out to her on TikTok.